Hell to the yes, ladies, the girls are back. Now granted, we won't actually see them do anything until next week, at the very least, but to see them just dive bomb through the roof with Ryuko in her dragon form pretty much bodying the final expendable is just greatness. There's no other way to describe it, but before I talk about the girls, I really need to talk about Deku versus Overhaul, because some big and important details were included in this chapter. Firstly, and potentially the most important part, is Night Eye's foresight. We learn in this chapter that not only was Night Eye seeing himself die in the future, but it also saw Izuku Midoriya die along with him, followed by Overhaul just walking away. So what we're basically looking at here is Deku having a huge death flag, but at the same time he's the main character, so he's obviously not going to die. I think that is kind of obvious, so no need to really go further into why, but it's going to be interesting to see if something is going to be happening that really puts him very close to the edge, or if the girls appearance did in fact avert this whole scenario. It's really hard to tell this early. Deku had some big development as well, because last chapter he was so certain that he was going to be bending the future, but in this chapter we also see him try to stay on top of Overhaul with 20% of one for all, but it just isn't enough. He manages to get a few attacks in, but Overhaul's speed and agility are just too great for Deku at this time, which is really nice to see. When I saw that face kick towards Overhaul, I was so scared, that Deku was actually going to be winning, because that would have been something that rarely happens in this series. It's a phenomenon known as bad writing, but fortunately it did not happen. Instead, he completely missed Overhaul and ended up losing his composure from both the strain that is 20% of one for all, as well as the fact that Overhaul is no mere opponent. The dude is an absolute savage who doesn't give a rat's ass about who he kills, be it a child, an adult. If the character in question is an obstacle for Overhaul, he'll just bitch slap them into a stain on the wall. I mean, he even uses his quirk on Airy just to reset her stamina levels, which I think just adds to his character. He's not the smartest villain you'll find, he doesn't really have the best concept of how to play the long game like Shigaraki or All for One, but he does something that I personally put a lot of value in. He fights on the front lines. This guy is not afraid to spill blood if someone gets under his skin, even the smallest mistake, and he'll literally bitch slap you out of existence, like we're talking popping you like a balloon. Airy also had a very interesting sense of focus in this chapter, which I thought was interesting but not entirely unexpected. After Togata is basically out of commission from blood loss, Airy actually runs back, which is exactly what Togata told her not to do. And once she's back with Deku again, she begs Overhaul to return everyone to normal, which does suggest that he can in fact reverse this effect, because that would imply reversing the ones it's fused with as well, which brings me to another point which is quite frankly disturbing as shit. Overhaul's hand just started to fucking speak, and I'm pretty sure that was like the guy who bought Airy toys, since he seemed to have a closer relation to Airy out of the people working for Overhaul, and I don't think the Expendables do. I find it extremely unlikely that that was actually Nemoto. So Overhaul does this thing from time to time, I guess, as punishment or something for not living up to his standards, but he also returns them, which is interesting. His methods are nothing short of unorthodox, but he does in a sense value his team. Otherwise he would probably just have them replaced, but at least that one guy must be of some extra value, since he is the victim to multiple fuses with Overhaul based on what he said, because he basically blamed Airy for Overhaul killing him again. And then let's talk about the big ass elephant in the room, Chronostasis, because we finally learned his name and we got to see his face. His name is Hari Kurono, and well, the way he looks, let's just say it caught me off guard. I did not expect Chronostasis to be a damn pretty boy. At any rate, we got a full understanding of his quirk, which I'd say was nice. He does, as most of us already suspected, slow down time for whoever his hair arrow needle thingy is hit, but he can only extend the needles if he remains stationary. So if he's on the move, they can't extend pretty much, so we also got his drawback in a sense. Or well, I guess in his case it's more of a limitation rather than a drawback. Before this chapter, I did suspect that there may be a scenario where Aizawa would find his way back to Overhaul and erase his quirk, but after reading this week's chapter, I'm just gonna say say I no longer believe that to be the case with everything that happened. Like, quite frankly, I just don't see how Aizawa could do anything against Chronostasis right now, because he can just make sure Aizawa don't make direct eye contact with him, and he's got Aizawa in his grasp pretty much. I think it's more likely that Team Girl Power is going to end off this fight with Overhaul. Now, it's a bit early to tell if that is what is going to be happening, but the girls haven't had any proper screen time yet in this arc, so it would only be right to have them play a part against Big Daddy, Big Baddie. Before I talk about the girls and the potentiality of the following chapters, let's just talk about Airy a little more, because we had this really interesting interaction with Deku and her where she begs Overhaul to just fix everything and she'll go back to him basically, and as a result, Deku pretty much loses his shit on Airy, in a good way mind you, by simply spelling it out to her that he doesn't give a shit about it not being his business. He came to save her, and so he shall. You know, he is hellbent on staying true to his hero path. He will not just let Airy go back when he knows exactly what Overhaul is going to be doing to her. And Overhaul just said it in this chapter, that letting Airy feel the pain is okay. He didn't seem bothered by it in the slightest, which of course makes Deku's resolve to want to save Airy greater than ever. Before this raid, they didn't really understand all of the stakes and all of the factors, but now Deku has a pretty good understanding of how to go about doing things. He has to save Airy no matter what, because she's just a little girl, of course. She will want everyone to be safe. She's just that good-hearted when it comes to others, even if it means getting majorly screwed herself. But Deku, you know, he's past that shit. He's going to grab Airy and just bring her to safety, even if it kills him. That's what he is about. I really liked one of the things about Airy and Overhaul in this chapter actually as well, which is when Airy actually returns, you know, at that moment when she tells Overhaul to return everyone back, it feels almost as if Overhaul submits to her request, not in the sense that he would be punished if he didn't, but rather that because Airy is potentially Overhaul's boss's daughter, that means that Overhaul probably feels some kind of obligation to satisfy her because of the fact that she is in fact the offspring of his leader. Now, that may simply be me who interprets it like that, but just the way that you see this really amazingly shaded panel of Airy from the back as she tells him to return everyone back, and he doesn't even hesitate to agree with her. Granted, it's at the cost of Airy returning to him, which won't happen with Deku around, and especially right now with the girls just blasting through their damn roof, which brings me to that exact topic, the girls. So we finally got to see them back in action. I mean, we haven't seen any of the girls ever since they first arrived at this facility at the beginning of this arc with that big ass dude when he came out with a bang, and now we see how once again they blast right through the damn roof along with that same expendable. I mean, he's most likely out cold after that landing, let's be real. First you have a dragon just forcing him through a damn building, and then there's the landing, which will not be pleasant for him in particular. What was really interesting about their arrival is that we didn't really see Nigiri in those panels, so she's either hidden from view or she's somewhere else, which I'll get to in a sec. But first, let's just say that now that Ochako and Tsuyo are back with Izuku, I have a feeling they are going to focus on getting him to safety, since he's basically as fucked as Mirio at this point. Like, he may still have his quirk and all, but he's just overused his quirk against Overhaul, which strained his body pretty fucking badly. Expect him to be either out of the game entirely or need to take a 5, you know, while Ryuko deals with Overhaul. Well, I say deal with him, more like keeping him busy, because while she may have the power to hold her own, there's still the fact that he's gone absolutely berserk and one touch could end it all. She needs to be extremely careful when going up against Overhaul, since out of all of the abilities that we have seen her use, she's more of a close-up fighter. She may be able to breathe fire and shit, but based on her fight with this expendable, or at least what we saw of it, she likes to get physical, which can be dangerous against this particular opponent. Okay, so Nigiri, where is she? That's a big one, because we have two options, or well, at least two options to consider. She may simply be behind all of the dust and all the rubble coming down along with the girls, because it's kinda hard to fit too many characters in certain panels, especially when you have a panel like this one where two of said characters are like proportionally massive. I mean, Ryuk is a freaking dragon, and then the expendable, well, he's just a big fucking dude. However, there is another option to consider, which is, I think, a lot more likely, and that is the fact that Nigiri may have split away from the girls to find Tamaki and Mirio. Tamaki only recently woke up from hearing that gunshot which erased Mirio's quirk, and Nigiri, well, she didn't hear that most likely. I mean, they were outside, and I doubt that would have reached her her ears, in all honesty, but she may just want to make sure that her friends are well, because the guy they're up against is a pretty deadly one. Tamaki and Nigiri will most likely find each other first, I think. Well, either that or Tamaki and Mirio, so Nigiri will most likely come across Mirio at a later time, and I think that will be very interesting to witness, because Mirio's totally fucked, you know, he's lost his quirk, and Tamaki is going to lose his shit. Let's be completely honest, they've known each other since childhood, and yeah, he's probably gonna tear Overhaul a new one. And then there's Nigiri, who, from what we know, is a very cheerful girl, not the type you'd expect to just go nuclear. However, that is exactly why I can see that happening. Have her, one of the big three members whose quirk and hero abilities have not yet been seen properly, just go absolutely beast mode on Overhaul. Most likely along with Tamaki, because I think seeing both of them tag team Overhaul would be amazing as a display, and most likely they're the only two strong enough characters to even stand a chance against Overhaul right now. I just want to see them have this sense of vengeance or retribution, I guess you could say. Have the two of them just avenge the fallen member of the big three, because let's be honest, Mirio, while he may not be the weakest out there even as a quirkless hero, he's never going to be able to stand among the big three anymore. That's just the harsh reality of the situation. I mean, he may be allowed to keep his title, but his future is pretty plain by comparison to what he could have accomplished had the bullet not hit him. So it would just make sense for the two of Nigiri and Tamaki to absolutely obliterate Overhaul to dust. Figuratively speaking, of course. Anyway, I think I'm going to end the review here, since I feel like I've covered most of the chapter. So yeah, be sure to leave a comment of what you thought of this chapter as a whole. To me, this was a really good chapter in terms of development, and of course that we got to see the girls again. A solid 8 out of 10. And as always, if you did, be sure to like this video if you enjoyed, and subscribe if you want to see more My Hero Academia content from yours truly. This has been your favorite host, Perm, and I'll see you soon.